hour. Sylacauga Fire Chief Nate Osgood joins us this morning. And Nate, good morning to you. And it was a busy day yesterday, to say the least, wasn't it?
It was. It was a long day for us. Yes, sir.
So talk a little bit about the incident that took place. A lot of people are scratching their head. How could that happen and that kind of stuff. But kind of walk us through what you found out as you were on the scene yesterday morning.
Sure. So, you know, it was one of those incidents that, you think you're never going to be surprised by what you're going to see, and then you continue to find yourself surprised by what you find. So that was definitely one of these incidents. So, we originally got the call to the lineman who'd been electrocuted, and then while we were en route, we were informed that there was an active fire also. Of course, we didn't know how those pieces fit together at that point, and when we showed up, we had a patient on one side of the road, and we had a fire on the other side of the road, and still kind of scratching our heads as to how that could even transpire. And as the incident unfolded, what we discovered is that the line that the worker had been working on had created an electrical current that ran across the line they were working on through the guy wire of the next telephone pole, next power pole up the road, and ran into the guy wire anchor, which eventually transferred the electrical current into the 10-inch high-pressure natural gas main and split it open.
Now, how much wattage or electricity you think was involved in that?
Yeah, so I mean, I only know what the power guys told me because I'm not an electrician, but they said that line that he was working on was 7,200 volts.
So the gentleman who was electrocuted, I understand, was airlifted to Birmingham.
That is correct. Yes.
And hopefully he's in satisfactory condition. We don't have an update on his condition this morning, but you know, I saw some pictures. I didn't get close enough to the actual scene because had traffic stopped and turning it away. But I saw some pictures of something I've never seen in my life before, fire coming up out of the ground.
That's right. And so the natural gas was seeping through the dirt and was burning off once it reached the surface. And it was actually a great benefit to us in the fire department response that it did catch fire, because when it's on fire, it's consuming the natural gas. Therefore, it's not being released anywhere. It's not being released into the atmosphere. It's not collecting, in a building, or natural gas is lighter than air, so it tends to float up into the atmosphere and disperse. But had it not caught fire, we might have been looking at some very small scale localized evacuations, that type of thing. But the fact that it was on fire from the incident response side of things was actually a benefit to us.
So the Sylacauga Utilities Board has to come in and do some work there.
Absolutely. They called in the cavalry yesterday. We had the water department, the gas department, the power department, the fiber guys were there. I mean, huge shout out to the utility workers, because without their help and us all kind of working as a team in our own roles, certainly would have been a lot messier.
And it looks like they're going to be working out there some more today as well.
Yeah, I mean, I can't speak to that directly, but it definitely seems like they're going to have a lot of repair work to take care of.
Yeah. Sylacauga Fire Chief Nate Osgood joins us this morning. A lot of traffic had to be diverted yesterday, and you got all these 18-wheelers and they just can't turn on a dime, so it took a lot of effort by a lot of people.
I know it, yeah, and anytime you close down a major highway like that, we try not to. Mm-hmm. When we have car wrecks, we try to keep a lane open or figure out a way to reroute, and unfortunately yesterday, just in the abundance of safety, knowing that we had an active gas line that was leaking, and we actually saw some indication that it would periodically kind of leak into the storm drain system and that kind of stuff too. So we didn't want anybody near the area in case, even though we had the incident contained, we were just keeping everybody out of the way, in abundance of caution.
From a layman's standpoint, I know nothing about it, but had the Sylacauga Fire Department, did y'all have training in any kind of this kind of situation?
100%, absolutely. So we actually, we have our own kind of small propane fire extinguisher simulator. The Fire College will actually bring in some of the training props I'm sure you've seen over the years. Yeah. They have some propane simulators. We do hazardous materials awareness and operations classes and hazardous materials technician certification classes. So 100%, this is the type of thing that we train for. And in an emergency response, there are always three overarching priorities: life safety, property conservation, incident stabilization. Those are the three things that we're working to bring about throughout the entirety of the incident. Sometimes they can be done simultaneously. But in this incident, they were very clearly defined. You know, when we pull up, yes, we have a fire. You know, we had some vehicles that were in danger. One of the bucket trucks was in danger of catching fire, but priority number one was patient care. Sylacauga ambulance was already on scene because of their close proximity to the incident. So we assisted with patient care, get the patient out of there, get them taken care of, get them to the treatment they need to receive. Now we turn our attention to, okay, the fire's still going. We still have power lines on the ground. We don't know what's still live and what's not, but can we keep the bucket truck from catching fire? Which we did. Now it sustained some damage. I think it melted some hydraulic lines on it, but we saved that, and the trailer where they had the spools of wire. So keep the fire off of those, get them out of the incident, get them away so that we don't burn up the property. Well, now we need to figure out how to stabilize the incident. And for a large part of the day, that stabilization was simply containment. Contain the fire to that one localized area while the gas department works to shut off the gas. Once the gas is shut off, the line bleeds down, which takes an extended period of time for all that pressure to bleed out and all the gas burn off, and then the fire goes out and the incident is then stabilized, and we can begin to, you know, return things to normal as they were before the emergency. There
had to be a line of communication of what was going on yesterday with a number of people.
Absolutely. So, you know, that's where the incident command system or national incident management system that's kind of a standard operating procedure across nationally, you know, kind of top down from the federal government, comes into play, where you have either an incident commander or a unified command. You have all the head honchos who are talking together to make sure that, you know, the right hand and the left hand know what each other's doing.
Now, this is not your normal house fire that you're working on.
Right, exactly, yeah, and you know, like I said, you have those incident priorities, and at a house fire, a lot of times the best way to conserve property is to put the fire out by stabilizing the incident. You know, I mean, they kind of go hand in hand. So this one was you know, over a wider geographical area, involved a significant number of people, as we've mentioned, everybody playing their part to bring everything under control, and it was definitely, you know, there were some moments at the beginning that were challenging. I say challenging, I guess that's the right word, but you know, I'm so thankful to have shift crews, you know, shift captains under me and crews under them who are competent, who know what they're doing, who you know, jump to the job and take care of things, you know, as we need to take care of.
When you first get the call, what's running through your mind?
Right, so again, it comes in as a lineman electrocuted, and again, in our world, the questions that we start asking are, is he still up on the pole? You know, did he get knocked down from a significant height? You know, was he in a bucket truck? Is the bucket truck stuck? I mean,
but you didn't know at that time.
We didn't know any of that. So, but you ask what's running through my head. Those are the things that start running through my head of what resources might we need when we get there. You know, and so we go ahead and call for the power company. You know, have them en route. You know, multiple different steps along the way, get those resources coming, and then when we get there and actually see what we have, you know, then you react and you continue to call in more resources.
Does your heart race at a different pace when something like this, or is it something that you just know that comes with the territory?
I would say that anytime you have confirmation on dispatch that a life is at stake, it certainly kicks it into another notch. You know, if you get a house fire with possible entrapment, you know, that's different than a house fire with everybody's reported out. You know, when you go to a car wreck, you know, I mean, you never know what you're going to find, you know, but if you get a car wreck with entrapment, that kind of kicks it into that next gear. So when you get a call to a lineman who's been electrocuted, you know that without a doubt there is a life hanging in the balance. And so, yeah, I would say it definitely kind of takes it up one step
We had a gentleman on a little bit earlier talking about the first responders event they're going to have, and there are a lot of first responders involved in the effort yesterday too.
Absolutely, and I need to give a shout out also in this conversation. Holland's Volunteer Fire Department brought an engine to our station to just help what we call tactical reserve. You know, if we get another call,
Right.
another emergency, we have to have resources to send to that also. So, Oak Grove Volunteer Fire Department, they had a couple people at their station who said, hey, we're here, we're not going anywhere, we're going to stay at our station, so if you need us, call us. So you're right, there's a lot of players, a lot of people involved.
Sylacauga Police Department involved in it all day long.
All day long,
Yeah.
absolutely with us. Yeah, they direct, you know, they were the ones rerouting traffic the whole time.
They were wanting to get cursed out if people didn't know what was going on. They knew they didn't want to turn around and go the other way.
Absolutely. So, you know, everybody played their part on the team to bring about, you know, a good end to the situation.
So kind of capsule where we are today and recap yesterday before we go.
Yeah, so you know, the entire incident out there lasted about 6 hours. We got the call, I think, at 10:52, if I'm not mistaken, and the bulk of all of the first responders were cleared up by, you know, about 4:40, I guess it was. So, you know, about 6 hours out there. You know, again, a lot of it was just containment. And
Was there ever any thought of evacuation of the surrounding areas?
again, you know, the thought goes through your mind, but as long as that gas is burning off, it's actually safer. So,
Okay.
so that was actually a silver lining in all of it, that it actually sparked that gas on fire. Believe it or not, I know that sounds kind of crazy, but that was actually a benefit to us. And then, of course, the utilities board will be out there cleaning up and repairing as long as that takes to get the gas turned back on.
Yeah, well, we appreciate you coming by this morning. I know it was a hectic day yesterday, and you never know. You may go 48 hours without a call of any kind, and then you get something like this that you may not have another call like this forever. You know?
Your whole career, absolutely. Once
Yeah.
in a career.
But we appreciate the fire department and what they do, and under your leadership, and all the first responders, we salute you. We prayerfully hope that the gentleman who was electrocuted yesterday can fully recover. And you know, when first responders are on scenes like this, and we're just looking at it from afar as individuals, but first responders are there, and sometimes it can play kind of mind games with you, you know, as you know, I'm being on a scene and you see a guy that is fortunate to be alive, and we're seeing something like we've never ever seen before in our town.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And you know, like I said, you think at some point that you'll see it all,
Yeah.
and then you realize that you're never going to see it all.
Yeah, absolutely. Nate, thanks for coming by this morning.
Thank you for having me.
Sylacauga Fire Chief Nate Osgood, our guest this morning. More Daybreak just ahead.